Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beast New Protectors Era episode 11. I'm Adam and today we got the first battle of the quarterfinals to get through today. So with this battle, along with every battle for these quarterfinals, obviously it'll be a one-on-one battle where 5 beasts will end up making it into the semi-finals and 5 beasts will end up, dead. So eliminated from the tournament. So what I will also say is all these matchups are great in their own way, have a lot of potential in each and every one. However, that was the hard part in trying to arrange an order for them. So I ordered them in the fights which I find to be like very interesting to the most interesting, and along with potential, along with potential that I can add to it. So this is probably the least interesting fight of them all, but still a good one. So let's introduce the beasts that are fighting in the first battle of the quarterfinals. Representing Series 29, the new protectors, we have Lukor, the Forest Demon. Versus a beast from Series 32, Battle on Carador, book number 4, Kyropta, the Skeleton Eagle. So with Lukor versus Kyropta, this is arguably probably the least interesting matchup because I think there is stuff I can do here, but I also believe this is probably one of the more obvious outcomes. But it ultimately depends on how it goes. But the arena is going to be a forest arena. And with that, let's get to the stats. Lukor the Forest Demon. Lukor's abilities consist of enhanced speed, durability and strength, natural weaponry, enhanced reflexes, wood encasing beams shot from the eyes, and camouflage in the forest. Kyropta the Skeleton Eagle. Kyropta's abilities consist of enhanced speed, durability and strength, flight, natural weaponry, free moving talons once detached, and an ear-piercing screech. Okay, so with the stats department done for both of these beasts, as I said, the battlefield will be in a forest arena, and with that, let's get into this battle. As the chamber doors open, Lukor immediately bounds out into the forest, hiding in the shrubbery below, using his camouflage abilities. Which, by the way, I found out Lukor was actually a male, not a female. So, oops. So, Lukor hides in the shrubbery, hidden in the forest. As Kyropta bursts through the sky exit, lands on the perch, and squawks into the arena with her ear-piercing screech. Lukor hears it and shakes his head in discomfort, but doesn't give away his position. As Kyropta immediately flies down into the forest, landing in the middle, detaching both of her talons, and letting them scout out the area while she also looks for this beast. From what Kyropta remembers of the last battle she had to check every single tree. Kyropta decides to take up to the sky and using just to eliminate any possibility of trees that she's going against, she flies on the top along the top of the forest using her wings to pretty much slice through the branches, causing disturbance throughout the top of the entire forest, causing a rainfall of leaves to happen. And after that, Kyropta is confident in the now leafless forest that, yep, she's not going against a tree. As she makes her way back down to the arena floor, she flaps her wings to try and push the leaves away from where she is, so that way they just go to the edge of the arena. Lukor sees all this, and as Kyropta walks past, he immediately shoots a wood encasing beam at Kyropta. Kyropta is caught off guard by this, as she gets encased in a wooden prison. Immediately, Lukor bounds out of his hiding spot, pins Kyropta down, and goes to bite into the neck. As he does, he bites into the neck, shattering the wood, right, and teeth sink into the neck. Kyropta doesn't even screech, as she uses her brute strength to break out of the wooden prison. She bites down onto Lukor's ear, pulling it aggressively, causing Lukor to let go and throwing Lukor off. As Kyropta gets back up, Lukor is crouched down to the ground, just growling towards Kyropta rather. and Kyropta has her wings out in a wide stance to try and intimidate Lukor, to no avail. Right before Lukor is about to pounce towards Kyropta again, Lukor feels a tingling coming up from his rear leg as he turns around and is greeted by a talon sinking its claws deep into one of his hind legs. As Lukor turns around to get rid of it, right before he does that, another talon grabs one of his front legs and digs the talons into that. Lukor, caught off guard by this, goes to bite down on that one, but is instantly greeted by Kyropta swinging her wing, knocking Lukor to the side, head first, and then Kyropta biting into the back of Lukor's neck, hoisting him up as she takes to the sky, with the talons persisting to scratch along the leg which each talon's on. Lukor angles his head to where he's able to make good shots with his wood encasing beams towards Kyropta, in which he does, encasing Kyropta in wood, and immediately Kyropta lets go of Lukor as Kyropta also continues to fall down to the ground. Lukor angles his body to where he hits a tree, but is able to use the tree trunk to dig his claws along the side and land safely as Kyropta smashes into the ground, breaking trees in the process. Whilst Kyropta has, with that collision, Kyropta's broken out of her wooden prison. But during that time, Lukor was able to use his fangs and bite into the talon on his front leg, yank it off, and then crush it in his mouth. As he was able to do the same thing with the other one once he scratched that talon off his hind leg before turning around and biting into that one, crushing it in his mouth. Kyropta sees that and charges up to Lukor in aggravated aggression, using her wings to flap the leaves in front of Lukor to try and obscure his vision. As Lukor stays exactly where he is, he immediately sees Kyropta about to bite down onto him, in which Lukor lifts up a claw, pretty much slaps Kyropta's head away before Kyropta comes in again, swinging her head back, and Lukor does the same, knocking it back. Kyropta continues persisting and lifts up one of her legs and full-on bops Lukor on the face, knocking Lukor's head back to be greeted by Kyropta roaring in his face. Lukor goes to snap down onto Kyropta's beak. Kyropta recoils her beak just in time before screeching at the top of her lungs right in front of Lukor. Lukor immediately lifts up his paws to cover his ears in disturbance from the loud noise, in which Kyropta uses that to her advantage by lifting up one of her legs and just uppercutting Lukor, knocking him backwards onto his back. As Kyropta then decides to bite down onto Lukor's stomach, she just rips away at the flesh that's on Lukor's stomach, as Lukor, in retaliation, goes to slash at Kyropta's chest, slicing straight through some feathers, but not doing any major damage as Kyropta barely seemed to feel it at all. Kyropta uses her wings and just use the bony parts of the wings to just smash right into the side of Lukor's head, each side, discombobulating Lukor for a bit as he starts to feel very discombobulated. That's the right word. As Lukor eventually comes to, he's still pinned down by Kyropta, who's using the stump on one of her legs and just battering Lukor's head in, as she's also biting into his stomach. Lukor quickly angles his head to shoot a wood encasing beam at Kyropta, trapping her in a wooden prison, as Lukor is able to roll away and try and regain himself from his injuries, as he sees that Kyropta is trying to shake her way out of the prison and break right through it. This time, as a solid weak point in the wooden prison, it's taking a bit longer, but Lukor knows Kyropta will be breaking out soon. So Lukor retreats back into the shrubbery, into the bushes, and tries to camouflage there, and just watches as Kyropta immediately erupts out of the wooden prison, charges up to where she last saw Lukor, and seeing a bunch of bushes all around her, she decides that he's probably hiding in one of those bushes. She lifts up her wings and flaps them as much as she can to just cause a strong gust, eventually tearing away all the leaves from the bushes. And eventually, the only thing that can be seen is Lukor's glowing red eyes. As Lukor goes to shoot another wooden casing beam towards Kyropta, Kyropta immediately dives out of the way before taking to the sky and landing on top of a tree before then swooping up to the sky, doing a full circle around the arena before diving down and using the nubs on her legs, crashing into the tree that she was just on, with the force knocking it over, aiming to land directly on Lukor. Lukor sees that and dives out of the way to be greeted by another tree coming down towards him. Kyropta is flying around with all her strength, crashing into trees and knock them down. Lukor is bouncing around trying to avoid all these trees and trying to slice through them, trying to defend himself as much as he can. And eventually, with all the trees coming down, when the last tree is on its way down to land on Lukor, Lukor goes to jump out of the way. But with how uneven the ground is now, he trips over another one of the already fallen trees and looks up to see the tree landing directly on top of him. Lukor's back legs have been crushed by the tree, and he's trying to push the tree off of him. And whilst he's struggling to do that, Kyropta comes down right in front of him, stares him down. Lukor shoots a wooden casing beam straight towards Kyropta. Kyropta dodges it before biting down into Lukor's chest area, closer to one of his legs, rather, and just rips at the flesh there before going at the same spot again and tearing away. Lukor's wondering what Kyropta's going for until eventually Kyropta bites down onto Lukor's shoulder blade, connects into one of his legs, and snaps right through the bone, and immediately that one of Lukor's front leg slumps down. Lukor stares in shock at that as he uses his other claw to slash at Kyropta, and the scratching actually hits Kyropta's head, causing scratch marks to appear along the skull, but didn't hear a screech of pain or anything from Kyropta. Lukor stares utterly confused by this as Kyropta bites down onto Lukor's head, but angling her beak to where she actually bites into where her beak actually pokes into Lukor's eye before she rips it out violently and going straight for the other one, ripping that one out as Lukor's roaring in pain. Kyropta just screeches back louder, causing Lukor more disturbance with the loud screeching. Eventually, Kyropta bites into Lukor's neck right here, rips at the flesh, and does one more there where she finds a bone with her beak and just snaps right through it. Immediately, Lukor's roaring stops, and Kyropta looks at the damage which has occurred before taking up to the sky, doing a full circuit around the arena before diving back into her chamber. And with that, Kyropta has won, Lukor has lost. If you think Lukor should have won, please leave in the comments below what you think about how my word's final and Kyropta's moving on to the semi-finals. So with this battle, I'll be honest, I had no idea who was actually going to win it because I knew they both had their strong attributes. But I ultimately gave Kyropta the victory due to being able to fly, wood only being so strong with the wood encasing beam, so it could only hold her back for so long. But then you also got the talon detaching rather, which can distract Lukor, and it did. But then you also got Lukor's other attacks, which can only do so much to this beast. And considering Kyropta is literally just feathers and bone, good luck making this beast bleed. I think you need to actually crush this beast to win, and Lukor simply did not have the capabilities to do that, and instead was the one getting crushed. So with that, Kyropta's moving on is our first semi-finalist, and with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.